Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/Wisdom of the Sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Laguna Beach, California, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the Laguna Beach Temple. Me and the kids and Bhakti Justin on our world tour have ended up here sleeping in the ashram.
You kind of make a movie of this.
It's like a reality show, road trip,
Yeah.
transcendental road trip. Did you know that? You want to hear something funny?
Yeah.
This temple is special to me because there used to be a cafe in the front, like right where I'm sitting right now. There was a cafe here when I was a teenager, and I was visiting and playing in California because my band Youth of Today had this thing. We're all going to move to California. We're sick of New York. I even gave up my New York rent-controlled apartment to move to California and get jobs, and that was our idea. So I was living. I had a great job. I worked in a vegan juice bar, vegan restaurant in Hollywood. That was my job. But anyway, I would come to this temple to go to the cafe, and I didn't even know anything about Krishna. I just was sort of intrigued by it. And then I was with Zach from Rage Against the Machine. I was staying with him and his parents. And I said, let's go to that Krishna temple for lunch. And so we went there, and I was like, I wonder if anybody could just stay here. Couldn't you just stay at a temple to feel what it's like?
Pay rent that way.
Well, no, I didn't mean to live. I mean, just to sort of like experience what it likes to live in a temple. And so I saw some guy walking around. It looked like he was in charge. And I said, can anybody just stay here? And he looked at me and goes, yeah. He just looks at me like, all right, this guy seems reasonable. And I stayed the next day at the temple for the first day of my life. It was right here.
And that's where someone said to you, like, just give your one life to Krishna or something like that? Was that time? Was that time?
Yeah, I told the story yesterday. I gave the Sunday Feast lecture. We were, it was, it's crazy when you live in an ashram. You meet, it's like you stay in the ashram and everyone's like, no one even looks at you. They're all like, everyone thinks an ashram is all peaceful and shanti, but it's sort of like you turn on that light at 3:30 in the morning. Everyone's like running around, getting dressed, jumping and taking a cold shower. And they're like out the door before they even notice that there's some new guy with surf shorts laying on the bunk below you. And then sort of no one paid any attention except one guy, one monk who sort of probably got, disciplined, chastised, etc. So I was late. So he just turned it on me, started chastising me. What are you doing? What are you doing with your life? He looked at me and goes, Bhakti Ray, do you know how many lives you've given to Maya? And I was like, do you? How many lives have I given to Maya? Like, do you have some?
I'd be interested to find out.
Five? And
Maybe six?
I said, no, I don't. He goes, you've given tens of thousands of lives to Maya. And he became quiet and he said, just give this one life to Krishna. I was like, well, what if we only have one life? I was like, I'm not convinced I have 10,000 lives. I was like, it sounds good on paper. Oh, yeah, okay, well, I'll give it just one life. You have given 10,000. What if this is it? I didn't even believe it. I knew nothing. If some of you guys are new to the show, you're like, what the hell is this podcast? I knew as much as you did that day. I slept in the temple. Even matter of fact, one guy woke up and I was just sort of like looking around the temple. He looked at me and goes, what are you doing? I was like, no, I'm just looking around. He goes, when you wake up, you chant the holy name.
Don't look around.
Don't look around, spacing out. I was like, what do I chant? I didn't even know what the holy name was. I didn't know anything.
It wasn't like they gave you someone to kind of like walk you through
No,
everything.
like they gave me a golden box with some malas in it and a lavender eye pillow in case I get tired.
Little guide to walk you through the day.
No, it was like they just threw me in the midst of their chaos, left me with a bunch of fanatics.
But it worked. You gave
Still
your life.
here.
And now you're known as Moksha Baba. You're going to be liberated in this one life.
If you Kaustubha was referring to yesterday's incredible interview with Drew Lawrence. I don't know if you missed that yesterday. He's a fantastic astrologer, and he said I had moksha in my chart. I can do whatever I
Moksha
want.
yoga?
Yeah. He said, I called him later, and I said, you called Mara mystical. Were you just joking? She goes, no, it's in her chart. She has some type of mystical influence. Mystic Mara, Moksha Baba, and you are we got it.
Sannyas yoga.
Yeah, detached Kaustubha.
No, he told, this was before the show. He said, "Oh, Kaustubha's got this sannyas yoga." It's like, and I was like, "Oh, all right, and that sounds pretty good." And then he said, "And Raghunath's got this moksha yoga." I was like, "Oh man, he one upped me."
It's like
he's
that
liberated
Saturday
in
Night
this
Live
life.
thing. You got sannyas yoga. I got moksha yoga.
I got moksha yoga.
So if a yoga is a combination of planets in astrology. So we all got some yoga going on.
All right.
Very interesting. I got a lot of feedback from that show too. A lot of people wrote me yesterday. By the way, if you want to hear my lecture yesterday, it's on, you go to Instagram's at Laguna Temple, and you could probably see it live. Yeah, it was fun. Madhu was here. He led the kirtan. He's such a beautiful
wedding.
singer. It was a beautiful wedding. It was beautiful. I'll post some pictures.
Did you play a role in it, or were you just witnessing?
I gave a little speech, blessing before the dinner, but I didn't play a role. His guru played that role.
Was it comedic, or was it just kind of straight?
Well, his guru is he's got a sense of humor.
No, I meant you though. You said
was I comedic? Yeah, it was a little comedic. It was unplanned,
right?
But it was a little comedic. Yeah. All right. What do you say we dive into this sweet honey nectar pot?
I'm so down to dive into this today.
It's a good place, huh?
I just, these verses are really speaking to me, Raghunath. I want to really understand them more deeply. I'm hoping that you're going to help open it up to me today too.
Alrighty.
Because, you bounce things back and forth, right? That's what you do. You come, you read these things together, you discuss, you share your viewpoints, and then everybody benefits from it. I want to benefit from hearing from you today.
All right, let's see what I got. Let's see what we got here.
Okay.
Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tatujayam madiraye. Before we start in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremest human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayesh vabhadreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttamasloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam, by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated in loving service to the transcendent Lord, whose praise with transcendental songs will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Tamarandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmadatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master has opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances. All right, diving in.
All right.
Canto 3, Chapter 9, Text 32.
Text 31.
Text 31. Episode number, Mara? What episode are we on?
435.
435.
Wow. Okay. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. O Brahma, when you are absorbed in bhakti, in the course of your creative activities, you will see me in you and throughout the universe. and you will see that you, yourself, the universe, and the living entities are all in me.
All right.
Vishnu vision.
Yeah.
You see God everywhere.
Yeah. Well, we just read, I guess just read, but it was a few days ago. But the previous verse, Lord Vishnu is speaking to Brahma, who's let's bring this back up, right? Brahma was in this moment experiencing performance anxiety. He was feeling depression and anxiety because he had such a task ahead of him. He wasn't sure if he was going to be able to do it. He also had this fear, and a very valid fear, that the very work that he's been entrusted to do might invoke with him a sense of pride. And he was concerned about that. He didn't want that to happen, right? Yeah?
Got it.
Okay. And so in text 30, Vishnu says to Brahma, situate yourself in penance and meditation and follow the principles of knowledge to receive my favor. So if you perform the right kind of penance, and we discussed what that meant, and if you focus on the right kind of knowledge, we spoke about that. This was all on Friday's show. Then you receive my favor, my blessing, my grace, my prasad, like that. By these actions, you will be able to understand everything from within your heart. So you get that inner direction, right? And so now he's saying, when you're absorbed in devotional service, when you're absorbed in bhakti, there's a term he uses here. Bhakti-yukta samahitaha. So that yukta,
It's like
that's
yoga.
It's like yoga.
To join
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, like yukta.
Sama, like this word same.
Samahita. It's a word you also, there's a verse in the Bhagavad Gita, text 6-7, where it says, it's a really great verse. This is a really good verse for understanding what yoga is. Jitatmana prashantasya paramatma samahitaha. That jitatmana, when one has jita, conquered the mind, prashantasya, then you become peaceful. Peaceful, happy, tranquil, like that.
Sure.
And then Paramatma Samahita, and then you can become fully absorbed in your connection with the Paramatma. Right? Prabhupada translates it. He says, for one who has conquered the mind, the supersoul, the Paramatma, is already reached, for they have attained tranquility. Right? But that Samahita means like this full connection, full absorption. So this is saying, yeah.
Go on. I was just thinking, we were having this conversation after the feast yesterday that
Who?
me and some people that came to the program. It was a Sunday feast, so I was sitting with a bunch of guests. We're saying how, actually, it was Mike Conway, who's a regular Zoomer, who's sort of moving out here. We're talking about how, like, the regulation of the senses, which is one of the foundational things in any yoga system, but in Bhakti yoga, regulation of the senses, it grants you so much freedom. When people have this concept like, man, you're restricted. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't, oh man, you put yourself in a box. You can't really enjoy this world. It's in that indulgence of the material world, the mind becomes so agitated, isn't it? And in the regulation of the senses, in the control of the tongue, the belly, the genitals, especially when you juxtapose the way the material world is just desperately trying to enjoy the senses. When you regulate the senses, the mind starts to become pacified. The mind starts to stop looking out. All right, where are we going to go next? What are we going to do next? What am I going to consume next? Who am I going to consume next? And you start seeing with a different vision. And then immediately, there's some relief from material pain, which exists in the mind. It actually offers the freedom, huh? It offers the freedom.
Yeah, the word prashanta, tranquility. You get some tranquility, right? Some peace.
Sure.
Basically it's as simple as this. There's two possibilities, right? One is that you control your senses, that you gain, or two, that you are controlled by your senses.
Yeah, you regulate them, or they start to own you.
They regulate you.
They own you. I own you, like that. And it's a sad place to be. Actually, pathetic. It's pathetic, actually.
Okay. So back to the text that we're reading today. So it's saying that you hit the stage of Bhakti-yukta samahita. You absorb yourself deep in devotional service, right? O Brahma, when you are absorbed in devotional service in the course of your creative activities, as you're moving through your duties in life, your occupation, your job, your responsibilities, we all got that. But if you do it with your mind absorbed in bhakti, then he says, then you will see me in you. We're talking about inner direction, inner experience here, right? That the previous verse said everything will be revealed to you in the heart. Now he's saying, actually, you're going to see me right there within you. You're going to experience that I am within you. He says you'll see me in you and throughout the universe, and you'll see that you yourself, the universe, and the living entities are all in me. Okay.
What? Say what?
I guess we got to examine that, But okay. When we talk about Krishna being in everything, generally we're talking like this all-pervasive feature of God. We're talking about the Paramatma, right? That this form of Vishnu has extended as a network. That's really the way I like to think about it. The more I think about it, I tell you, Raghu, this is where my mind is most focused right now, like when it comes to studying Shastra and all that, like just trying to understand this more deeply, really see it all the time, I feel like I want a breakthrough in life. I'm hankering for a breakthrough, and I think this is where the breakthrough that I'm looking for lies, is trying to really see what's being said in these verses, that there's a network here, and that network is extending from the form of Krishna into the form of Vishnu, and as the form of Vishnu on different levels, spreading its network throughout not only every living being but every atom in the universe, right? So Krishna is in everything. He's within you, within Raghunath's body right now, conscious, just as your consciousness is spread throughout your body and aware of your bodily sensations as well as your thoughts. So Krishna is also right there in that body as, extended network, perceiving everything that you're perceiving. And, just as knowing. But that same Krishna is over there in Mara's body too. The network has extended over into Mara's body and extended into my body, extended into Andrew Smith's body, extended into Nadia's body. It's extended to everybody, but also into every atom. There's that Paramatma, there's that form of Vishnu. So he's everywhere. Or he is in everything, and at the same time everything is in him. Right? It's going both ways.
Who can understand this? Is incredible.
You're like, well, so let's examine that. Like, how is everything in Krishna? There's so many.
Because Krishna is ultimately everything, and therefore we're all in him.
Yeah, it's like that. Yeah, it's kind of like right now I am situated in my body. Right, my soul is situated in my body, so I'm in my body, and my body is in my apartment. Right, so and my apartment is situated like within the earth, you could say, and then the earth is situated within the universe. One is supporting the other. My body's supporting me, my apartment is supporting my body, the earth is supporting my apartment, the universe is supporting the earth, Vishnu is supporting the universe. And ultimately, Vishnu is coming from Krishna. So it's like, it's all Krishna's energy. And we're all situated with, just like, say, the person that built my home, right? Like, in one sense, they could say that, well, Kaustubha is situated within my energy, right? He's within my, like, I created that, and he's supported within it. True? In one sense.
Yeah. Yes.
Right. But of course, that person, like there's probably one person that designed it, or maybe many people that designed the building, and then many people that built it, and someone else financed it. And it's like, when it comes to Krishna, you can say it's like it's really all him, because he's the one that empowered each one of those people to be able to do what they did. As the Paramatma, he empowered someone with the ability to make the architectural drawings, and he empowered someone, and he provided the earth that created the bricks and so on. So it's really all in his energy. And so this is what he's saying, that most of us walk around 24/7 unaware, our attention distracted, unaware that Krishna's network is spread everywhere right now, right? In me, totally plugged in my neighbor, totally plugged in every atom, totally plugged in and aware. We are unaware of that. And we're also unaware, we don't think about it, we don't feel it on a moment-to-moment basis, that I'm situated in Krishna, that what my body, my home, the earth that I'm walking on, it's all supported by someone. It's not just manifested itself. It's kind of like, there's this Zoom network right now, right, that we're all plugged into.
Yeah.
And in a way, it's supporting us all, right? Like it's supporting our communication. But we know that it would be not only illogical, but almost like crazy to think that there wasn't someone behind it, that there wasn't someone that engineered it, that there isn't someone that's supporting it,
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not getting much.
I'm not giving you much back here.
Yeah, I'm looking for
I get it. I hear you. I just don't. I feel like I have anything to add to it.
Okay,
so
that's no problem. That's no problem.
Keeping quiet.
But it would not only be like, it's almost like not even open for debate, right? Like nobody here is thinking that like Zoom just existed randomly. It fell together. And it's providing this force, but it just kind of randomly fell together. Nobody in their right mind thinks a thing, because they call this a law of entropy, right? That things tend to fall apart, right? Things don't just fall into
order. Things don't fall into beauty.
Fall into order.
Fall into love. Well, I guess you do fall into love, but the yes.
Let's stick with order.
Order is a good one. Things don't fall into order. Things break apart. Things break down.
Yeah.
Your
Things
car
require effort.
Your car never just changes oil on itself. It's like, hey, it's getting better, my car. I don't have to do.
You're right. It's getting, your house doesn't just get neater, right?
Boy, my house is looking really neat today. Yeah. That's a great one.
It requires effort to maintain.
Yeah.
Wherever there's order, it requires effort to organize it, and as well as effort to maintain it. So like Zoom didn't just fall together. Someone, created that order, and someone is maintaining that order. And what Krishna's saying is here, is as you walk through this world, how could you forget? How could you not? Isn't it where there's far more order, right? And obviously it requires far more power to maintain. How could we blindly think that it just all is, this network is like so much more intricate, So it's saying that, well, how come we don't know that? Like, how do we lose touch with that? How come it's not revealed to us and we're not feeling it all the time? Somehow we wanted illusion instead, right? Somehow we wanted to forget. And so he's saying, but when you're absorbed in devotional service in the course of your creative activities, you will see, right? It's almost like say we had Zoom. Like Zoom is kind of backwards. It's like we're all here. Like if I want you not to see me, I can kind of like hit off my camera. You won't be able to see me, but I'll be able to see you, right? And I'll be able to hear you. Well, this universe is kind of like the opposite. If I decide that I don't want to see God, then I won't see God. But God will see me still.
Now I like this analogy. I like where you're going with this.
That works? Okay. So we're moving, and it's something within us, all right? Some desire within us is saying, I want the illusion. And it's only because of that we're in illusion.
The people will argue, well, why would I pick illusion? Why would I do that? Why would anybody just pick illusion? And I find the answer to be, we pick illusion. Are you kidding? We pick illusion all the time. Not only do we pick illusion, sometimes we pick like chaos. We willingly go out of our way and choose chaos, insanity, recklessness, and come on, we're gonna hang out today. We call them on the phone and run with them. This is our posse. So we not only do we choose illusion, we're choosing like really warped versions of illusion as well. What to speak of, it almost becomes obvious, people are just so into gaming and things like that.
Yeah.
It's almost obvious that you're living in a second reality when you're gaming, and
you're consciously choosing an illusion within illusion.
Yeah, you're losing. They're not accepting that this is an illusion, but still they have to accept that I'm gaming. I'm playing this gun. This is my avatar. I'm shooting these bad guys, or I don't really know much about games, whatever it is. It's not a reality. They're entering into a second reality. They're choosing an illusion to have their highs and their lows and their excitement. And you feel like saying to them, hey, go out and run around the block. Go do something. Go swimming. Take on a sport.
Get back into reality, which is just first level illusion.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So it's like, how many levels of illusion do we want to go into?
We can, just like you're saying, I think it's a great point that we just do this for today, right? Here's an exercise. Just look around and see how often either you yourself or you witness someone else consciously choosing illusion, right? Like look at children, right? Like sometimes children want to play, and when they play, they want to live in an illusory world, and they do whatever they can. Whether it's like, you put some kids in and they're sitting near a couch, they take all the pillows from the couch and they make a little house out of it, right?
Yeah.
And then in their mind,
you go over there and you go like, "Stop living in illusion." Kick down their
house. It all apart. Put that back on the couch.
Watch out! It's mean Uncle Kaustubha. He always kicks down our
This
house.
is for your own good, kid.
Takes away our toy guns and weapons. So little girl baking with a fake oven. Kaustubha comes in. Here he comes again.
Kicks it over. but like sometimes when children, they'll adopt a like an illusory persona, and they'll demand that you accept it.
Yeah,
right? like no, I am Princess whatever.
How do you deal with that, Kaustubha?
I don't have a problem with that, Raghunath. Honestly, I don't. I'm just, but my point is this: is like they're consciously choosing illusion because they want to taste something. They want to experience something, some flavor of that illusion. And so what these texts are saying is that that's what we're doing. We're consciously choosing illusion, but we go so deep into it, and when we get dissatisfied with it, the wise person starts to look for the way out. But the problem is that the mind has been shaped, to see the illusion rather than to see the truth. And so it's a bit of a battle.
Advertisers work this, don't they? They work the illusion. They try to get you to opt into an illusory identity. Like, okay, you're okay, you want to drive a Jeep, you're an outdoorsman, you're that guy. Even if you never go outdoors, it's like you drive that Jeep, you're an outdoorsman. And they're selling you a persona, a bravado, a theme of your life. What else would it be? Mara, give me another one. Brooks Brothers would sell you every brand has their thing they're selling. Yeah. Their heroes, their haircut.
Well, they create a persona that you're meant to identify with, right? Like the Marlboro Man or something like that.
Marlboro Man.
Marlboro.
He's
Man.
rugged.
He's rugged. He can smoke that cigarette.
Yeah, and then they push a product to support that. It's quite clever, actually, selling you illusions.
Right. And we're buying them all.
Just purchasing it. Yeah.
Well, there's another example, right? Where someone subconsciously, but kind of consciously buys into the illusion. Like if I buy the Marlboro cigarettes and I roll that pack up in my sleeve,
right.
and from time to time, reach into the pack and light one up. That I am something like that Marlboro Man, right? Like the grit in them or whatever it is, that we find, which ultimately is just a quality of Krishna, by the way. But we identify with that. So yeah, we do choose it. So what this is saying, what these verses are saying is the way out of the illusion is devotional service. The way that if you consistently perform bhakti, and we can talk about, how that plays out, how that might be. But he's, again, Bhakti Yukta Samahita. By being Bhakti Yukta, by being connected, through Bhakti, Samahita, and the absorption has to become deep, right? It's great if it's something that you're attracted to, or you maybe even identify with on some level, or appreciate. But the real transformation, the real revelation of truth comes when it's Bhakti Yukta Samahita, when you become deeply absorbed in it. Then truth becomes revealed, right? Truth, because it's a very, not only is it a process by which you're reprogramming that mind to see truth, but it's a very, tangible, concrete expression that I want truth. It's like you're demonstrating to Paramama. This is, you know what? I know I've spent many lifetimes. How many, Raghu?
Tens of thousands of lifetimes in
Tens of
Maya.
thousands. Yeah. Although I spent tens of thousands of lifetimes pursuing, intensely the illusion, I've determined through what I've heard, I've developed some faith, and I'm determined now that I want truth. And I'm going to demonstrate that by engaging in devotional service, engaging in bhakti. Then you begin to see what's there all along, but we're unaware of, and that is that Krishna's network is spread everywhere, and let me be aware of that. Let me feel that presence, and let that, as the 13th chapter says, when I feel that and I recognize that in every living being, then my mind never becomes degraded. All right, so let me operate on that level, and let me also realize that everything is resting in Krishna, right? My very existence. I'm not some independent, rugged, what do we call it, the rugged individualist or something like that?
Rugged individualism, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not like, reality is, I'm not a rugged individualist that's dependent on no one. Actually, I'm dependent on so much, and that's
Completely
not a problem.
dependent.
Yeah, it's not a problem. But and then you begin to see everything differently. You begin to, even the things that have us in the deepest illusion. There's, when you hear this verse, when you take it, this verse is speaking, let's say, on the tattva level, on the practical level, understanding how everything practically is situated in this world. But then there's also the rasika level, right? Like that esoteric level where we're talking about our relationship with God and the varieties of love that may take place there. So when I hear this, I also think of Mother Yashoda looking into Krishna's mouth, right?
Yeah.
You did that recently on Sri Baby Krishna.
I can't remember whether Yashoda's looking in the mouth. He's saying, your son is Narayan. Your son is Narayan. He feeds the entire universe. And Krishna's saying, what are you kidding? This little kid can't even feed himself. He's walking around eating dirt on the ground. She's choosing. She's also an illusion.
But her illusion is very different. But what happens, right, is like she looks, Krishna's, he's with his friends, and his mother comes up, and his friends say to Krishna's mother, they say, Krishna's been eating dirt. This little boy, he's doing some wrong stuff, right? Maybe some of the kids that are a little bit older. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right, Mother Yashoda.
Narking on Krishna.
And yeah, look at what Krishna's doing. It's wrong. And when so Mother Yashoda's like, Krishna, what are you doing? Why are you eating dirt? And what does he say?
I'm not eating dirt. He lies. Krishna is a bold-faced liar. Looks them in the eye and just says, "Nah, it wasn't me. What are you talking about? I just saw you eat the dirt. What are you talking about, Krishna? You're eating." And I'm not. They're making up these lies about me.
Speaking of Krishna being a bold-faced liar, right? When Krishna lies, when we lie, what happens?
Creates a duplicitous mind. A lot of things happen.
It just creates
people
anxiety.
People lose faith in us. People
get
hurt.
upset.
Yeah,
it never leads to good stuff.
When
right?
Krishna lies, we're incredibly more attracted to him.
Yeah. So my wife was telling me about one of Krishna's bold-faced lies. I think she was reading the book. What is it again? The Ananda Vrindavan Champu.
What a book.
Oh, yeah. And so in that book, I think it's from that book that, Krishna's, Mother Yashoda, she's making all these great, she does a lot of the home kitchen stuff, right? So she's like creating the very best ahimsa dairy products, right? Where they
Yes.
take care of these cows with love for their entire life, and then they
Yeah.
take those dairy products. And so she's made butter.
Mm.
And this kind of butter is not like the stuff that you buy in the store that's not ahimsa and not coming from cows that have been loved and coming from cows that aren't eating the purest. This is like when you make this butter, it's fresh. And it's actually really sweet and delicious, and Krishna's probably like addicted to this because it's her form of love, right? Her love is invested in that butter. So he's stealing it all the time. This is where Raghu's attraction really sets in, right? Yeah. And Krishna's got a pot of that butter that he's stolen, right? She puts it up. She tries to get it away from him because she knows that he just can't resist. And he's got a pot of that, and he's got his hand in the pot. He's got it all over his face. And Mother Yashoda comes up and says, "What are you doing? Why are you stealing and eating that butter?" And you know what he says?
Oh, what?
He tells a bold-faced lie. He says,
Tell me.
It's not that I'm eating the butter or anything. It's that this bracelet, because he has these bracelets that are like red gems and they're just like glowing and everything. It's like, this bracelet you put on me is so hot. I have to put it in here to cool the thing down. It's not my fault at all.
A liar.
It's just totally lying.
The more you
But
lie.
when he tells that kind of lie, it just makes her heart just completely melt in love for him, right?
More
she-
attractive.
Yeah, she says, "Oh, okay, let's take care of that. Let's take care of that bracelet. Let's cool you down."
Era, let's
So
do a Sweet Baby Krishna on that topic. Let's do Sweet Baby Krishna tomorrow. Does that
Okay,
sound
what
good?
time are you gonna do it?
Well, I'm gonna do it at
9 p.m. Eastern time,
okay, that's
Six-
6 o'clock.
six-
I'll do that.
6 o'clock.
Will anybody go on the Eastern time at 9? Is that too late? Me and
People.
Kylie. Okay, good. Thanks, Kylie.
Okay, you got Kylie, you got me.
I got
right there. It's gonna
Kylie.
be
I got
good.
Sherry.
We the
Sylvan
three of
Kinsky.
us. Yeah.
Mara's like, I'm going to bed. Okay, Sweet Baby Krishna tomorrow for Patreon members. If you're not a Patreon member, patreon.com/Wisdom of the Sages.
There you
Join
go.
us.
Join us. So this time, Mother Yashoda again. She says, "Krishna, what are you eating dirt for? Come on. You know you're not supposed to be doing that." What does he say? Bold-faced lie, right? I'm not eating anything.
Hmm.
And then he says, she's like, "Okay, well, let me take a look in there and see if I can figure this out." Right? Somebody's lying here.
Hmm.
So she opens up Krishna's mouth. Krishna opens his little mouth, right? Cute little.
Adorable little mouth.
Okay, adorable little mouth. And she looks right in there. What happens?
She sees the destruction of the universe, the
Destruction?
creation of the universe, the demigods, the great sages, the forefathers, and the cosmos, all the planets, higher, middle, and lower. She even sees herself looking in little Krishna's mouth. What? How can this be?
So then this kind of rocks her world for a moment there.
What is going on here?
Yeah, how
Sort of like a trippy,
Yeah. It was a trip. It was a trip
Yeah.
for sure. And so she says to herself, this is from 10th canto of Bhagavatam, 8th
Found
chapter.
this?
Huh?
Good. You found this? Good.
I pulled it up.
Oh,
Okay.
good.
This is 10th canto, 8th chapter. The whole chapter is dedicated to this pastime of Yashoda looking in Krishna's mouth. And she begins to, within herself, she says, "Is this a dream? Or is it an illusory creation by some external energy? Has this been manifested by my own intelligence? Like, have I just generated this vision within my own mind? Or is it some mystic power in my child? What is going on?" Right? And then this is her prayer at this point, because she's so confused. I mean, imagine you look in your child's mouth and suddenly you see the whole universe in there. It's like,
It happened to me once. It was
Did it?
crazy. It was totally crazy.
okay. And so she makes this prayer. But this is, again, this is like seeing truth, right? She's going to talk she's on the Rasika level. Her whole world is just like absorbed in deep love for Krishna. She's not a philosopher so much, but she begins to speak philosophy at this point. So she says, "Let me surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead." She doesn't even understand that that's her boy right now, right? But she says, "Let me surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead and offer my obeisances unto him, who is beyond the conception of human speculation, the mind, activities, words, and arguments." In other words, we don't reach God through any of these things, right? Ultimately, it's only through devotion. It's beyond our senses, beyond the power of our mind to understand. We have to hear it, but we don't reach it on our own. And she says, "And who is the original cause of the cosmic manifestation, by whom the entire cosmos is maintained, and by whom we can conceive of its existence. Let me simply offer my obeisances, for he is beyond my contemplation, speculation, and meditation. He is beyond all my material activities." Okay, so let me offer my respects to that being who's beyond me. And then she says this: "It is by the influence of the Supreme Lord's Maya," right, illusory energy, "that I am wrongly thinking that Nanda Maharaj is my husband, that Krishna is my son, and that because I am the queen," Nanda Maharaj is her husband and Krishna's father, right? "And because I am the queen of Nanda Maharaj, all the wealth of the cows and the calves are my possessions, and all the cowherd men and their wives are my subjects. Actually, I also am eternally subordinate to the Supreme Lord. He is my ultimate shelter." Right? So now she's sharing the kind of insights that we're all meant to apply, right? This is her external position. I'm kind of like the queen of the cowherd village.
Right.
I have my husband, I have my family, I see them as all mine. I have an external identity. She's saying it's only by the illusory energy that we forget this whole network and what's behind the whole network, right? And we accept the temporary, relative, so-called reality as reality. She's getting it, right?
Got it.
Then she kind of just shakes that off and goes into the deeper level of back into like the super high level Rasika illusion. But it's interesting that she prays that way, I thought.
That is a great. What chapter is that?
That's chapter 8. You're gonna read from that?
10th canto. Maybe we'll dive into
Great
that.
thing. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to the next verse. Yeah, let's go to the next verse. Text 32.
Next verse is incredible. This one, I mean, this just continuing with this one.
You are bubbly.
I'm feeling inspiration. I want a breakthrough, Raghunath. I want you to help
sounds like
me.
you've had one.
No, I haven't. I want you to help me achieve this.
I'm broken.
Breakthrough.
I can't give you a breakthrough.
We can do it together.
Okay. "You will see me in all living entities as well as all over the universe, just as fire is situated in wood." Fire already exists in wood. "Only in that state of transcendental vision will you be able to be free from all kinds of illusions."
And here we go again.
To see me in all living entities.
Yeah. So you will see.
Powerful in a world where where we're creating lots of friends and enemies.
Yeah.
You have to see Krishna behind everything. It's a tall order actually for us to do, especially in the state of the world, and it's a great thing to reach for. It was one of the themes of our class, in my class yesterday.
What'd you say?
Training the vision to see Krishna in every being. People that are, which is hard to do because I tend to see God in the people that are cool, and not the people that are jerks. I just see them as jerks, and if they could only be more godly or spiritual or cool, or if my spouse could be more spiritual or cool, and all the people that disagree with me, if they could be more spiritual and cool, then I'd like them much more, and I can accept them. But it's a training to see people, even people who are doing, I use the example of Haridas Thakur and Jesus Christ, of course, for, people who are, they're appreciating and praying for and giving blessings to. Such a great story. The story of Haridas Thakur is so powerful, He's getting beaten.
Eden.
22 marketplaces by the colonists who have taken over India, and they're all fundamentalists, Islamic fundamentalists,
Religious fanatics.
religion, and they're
Fundamentalists.
fanatics. And Haridas Thakur
Or
was a
terrorists, practically, you could say.
Muslim. What's that?
Practically, you could say terrorists.
They're full on terrorists. It's when they, it's just like these invading countries, like we did, and we the Americans, we came here, did the same thing. But it happened in India many times over. And so this particular time, about 500 years ago, they're literally homicidal maniacs. So they got especially furious when one of their own started adopting Vedic principles. Now, the problem with that is Vedic principles are very broad. They're written into the teachings themselves that this spirituality is for everyone. And there's not a us versus them in Vedic teachings. It's everybody's on a spiritual path, whatever that path may be, and we encourage it. So Haridas, famous saint, he was a Muslim, and he started adopting these principles, and he became absorbed in the Maha Mantra. And the local government was like, hey, you got to stop this. This is completely inappropriate. He's like, I can't stop it. Why would I stop it? It makes me feel connected. It makes me feel love for every being. Why would I ever stop that?
Can't stop it. Can't stop it.
He
Won't
said,
stop.
Look, if you don't stop it, we're gonna have to, you're gonna get punished for it. You're gonna people tried to reason with him, talk to me. He goes, you can put me in jail if you want.
You know what he said? He said something else too.
What?
He said, if you cut my body into 1 million pieces, all those little pieces will just keep chanting.
and they put him in jail.
I mean, imagine saying such a thing. Imagine you're standing in front of like some horrible
guy with a guy with a sword.
Yeah, and like some ruler that's like right there that's got no compassion for you whatsoever, and they're like saying, we're going to give you one last chance, and you're saying, you know what? It's not even within my control, right? If you cut my body into 1 million pieces, they're all going to be chanting Hare Krishna. Sorry.
There's a problem when you deal with people like this. They're so absorbed and they're so not of this world that they're, put me in jail. And what happens when you put them in jail? They live in such a high standard. The bar is raised so high. They have such a high vibe that all the other prisoners start getting inspired by this person. That's where the change is coming. Everybody's inspired in prison. The criminals are inspired. And then they just said, okay, this guy's not doing it. He was ordered to be beaten. And how do you beat a person? To make an example, you beat him in a public place, a marketplace. And then even his perpetrators started feeling bad because Haridas was so absorbed in bhakti. He wasn't even recognize his body was getting beaten. And he was sort of like giggling, smiling, like not of this world, not of this body. It's this very elevated state. And after the 22nd marketplace, and nothing is happening to this person's consciousness. I mean, my consciousness gets thrown off if some little thing goes wrong, or if I read something in the news, or I stub my toe. I'm like, oh, I make a whole thing about it, right? He is getting physically beaten, and he's just aloof. And at that point, the script flips, and the perpetrators start apologizing. They start, what are we doing? This guy must be some saint. You're in medieval India. You see these mystics everywhere. This guy, everyone
it's
says,
for real.
Yeah, he must be a saint. What are we doing? And he goes, listen, we are sorry, but we were ordered to kill you. And, if we don't kill you, they're going to kill us. Oh, they're going to kill you. And out of compassion, he's feeling he's going to kill these people. If they're going to kill you, I don't want to see you get hurt. I will die immediately. So here's the people trying to kill him, and he's feeling so compassionate that they're going to be brutalized. And with these, there's this mystic city where you can actually, you don't die, but it appears like you die. You suspend your animation, and he just goes, then I will die immediately. And he just appeared dead. And they were like, oh, that was easy. He just died for us.
Thank you.
And they threw him in a river. They threw him in the Ganga. And then he was just floating as if dead down the Ganga. And then he just came back to consciousness and doggy paddled over to the to the shore. It's unbelievable. So that type of vision where you're actually seeing spirit in everybody, and the people that are even doing stupid things, you feel like, you know what? Hurt people,
Hurt
right?
people, hurt people.
Yeah,
Well, that's the thing, right?
that's the
It,
thing.
it's it's saying that this is, even within like language and how we communicate, like when you get to people that are what do they call it, like when you nonviolent
Nonviolent
verbal
communication.
nonviolent communication, like that, where it said that you're supposed, like when you address someone, like say two people are in a relationship and one of them is upset or one upset the other, that you should be careful with your language, that you don't say you're a jerk, or
You're acting like a jerk.
yeah, or yeah, like that, or like
It's
saying when you do
it's a better
this,
option.
I feel like that, right?
Yes, yes.
Right.
You're acting. Yes.
When you act like a total jerk, I feel like you're a jerk. So stop acting like such a jerk all the time. Yeah. So you say when you do this, I feel like that. But it's just a way of training your language, so that you don't forget that you care about that person, and you through that type of language you cultivate like a higher level of interaction. And so
I've got the audio book, Nonviolent Communication.
there's an audio
Throw
book
that on
on
the
it?
board. It's a great book.
Okay.
Huh?
All right. And so what this verse is something like that. It's like saying, here's something to think about. And the analogies given, the metaphors given, is that think of it like fire is situated in wood. Well, what does that mean? It's like there's so many different kinds of wood, right? Like you're going to bring me some wood, right, Raghunath? You're going to do your Save a Weekend? When's the Save a Weekend?
Memorial Day weekend.
Okay, so Memorial Day weekend, people go up and they're going to chop wood. And I said, I can use some wood for my home because we got like plants and we want to put some a little higher than lower,
You want
like
Madam
benches.
chainsaw you a little bit of.
Yeah. So then you said, well, what kind of wood do you want? You want pine, or what were the choices?
Oak, pine,
Oak
maple.
or pine? Yeah, so there's oak wood, there's pine wood, there's maple wood. There's so many different kind of woods. But the fire within the wood is always the same, right? So like there's dogwood, right? Like that's like those white skinny trees, right? And then you got pine, which has a very rough outer and then sticky, right? Like pine wood.
Sappy.
Right? Sappy.
Birch
then you got
is
like,
the white one, and poplar.
There's a dogwood that's white though. You always every time you correct me, you get it in the long run.
Get a little
Someone
tree,
Google that. Mary, tell me if there's
arrogance.
a dogwood tree that's white out there. And then okay, and then so you got so many different types. Cherry wood, it's got like that kind of smoother exterior, right? But the fire within the wood, you light up a pine, a pine log right next to a cherry log or an oak log, the fire that comes out is of the exact same quality, even though the external body that it's in, the external form that it is very different. So our external forms, whether they're human or plant or animal, and even our external behaviors, which are all stemming from the body, including the subtle body, which includes the mind, it comes in so many varieties, and some are pleasant and some are unpleasant. Some are, more warped and some are more straight, But the soul within every living being is of the same quality. That is just an absolutely crucial realization that we're meant to come to. That is an absolutely crucial concept that we're meant to meditate on day by day by day, right?
So these people we come into contact with, some of them are triggering. They trigger us to like lose our minds or lose our tempers, or I'm furious by their behavior. And they themselves are actually controlled by the gunas. They're desperate. They're reacting themselves to some trauma. And what's happening is we are asked to put on a divine lens, and it's very difficult. It's hard work. We have to first start with just sort of like appreciating the people around us. That's like 101. How can I appreciate the people that are good to me? How can I appreciate it? Because I neglect them too. And then we start to actually appreciate that everybody's a spirit soul, and it's not like the people that are being cruel are actually really enjoying themselves. They're actually suffering tremendously. Yeah. They're driving around in some like real a broken vehicle that's just running all over the road, banging, right? Like a car, almost like a crazy drunk driver, like swerving all over and just banging into other people. So yeah, you're getting banged by it. So the best thing we can do is not be reactive to it, because when we're reactive to it, we become like them. Hate becomes, I start to hate.
Well,
And then I become very hateful.
It's just illusion. You see, this says when you see that when you see me and all living entities as well as all of the universe, just as fire is situated in wood, only in that state of transcendental vision will you be able to be free from all kinds of illusion. So it's just by definition illusion when we feel animosity towards another person, towards another soul. We can have a problem with the way they behave. We can have a problem with their words. But we have to understand that underneath that there's a soul, and that soul is behaving in ways that we've likely behaved in this lifetime, what to speak of in previous lifetimes. Right? Like what they're doing now, I have done. Right?
That's a nice way to look at it too.
Yeah.
We're not so above it. We're a moment away from it.
Yeah, right.
We're a moment away from completely inappropriate behavior. And when you look about it like that, and you understand their backstory, because everybody's got a backstory. When you understand it sort of lets you be less reactive to what they're going through and a little bit more empathetic.
That's the only form of truth. If we want truth, we need to break through that. If we're hesitant to see things that way, if we're hesitant to train our minds to think that way, then we're just bowing to illusion. We're being controlled rather than being in control.
Bowing to illusion. I like that. Thank you, illusion.
Well, with that,
Vishnu vision. Was there any takeaway, Maris?
Yeah. Anywhere there's order, there's a creator of the order and a maintainer of that order. Bhakti is the way out of the illusion.
Yeah.
Reprogram the mind to see truth instead of Maya. And train the vision to see Krishna in every being.
Like that. There we go. I'm going to walk around, just repeat those in my mind. Thanks, everybody. We're up for Sweet Baby Christian tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know if any Europeans can pop into that, but definitely some Central Time people and some illusion. Or some illusion? What the hell am I talking about? Some Californians. Patreon.com/wisdomofsages. Float this boat. Keep us going. And Wisdom of the Sages retreat is definitively going on. And Mara's going to make a guest appearance to both of them, New York and Long Beach, California. We're just excited. This just in.
Mara's coming.
A message from her manager, her press manager. Mara's coming to Long Beach, California.
all kinds of arrangements have to be made. There's like so many details, right? Full on diva kind of thing.
As she gets off that plane, business class, red carpet, we're waiting for her. Thanks everybody for joining us. Appreciate regularly showing up. I'm going to give about a big shout out to the others because I'm meeting so many others on this cross-country journey. Loving the others, loving the Californians.